Most people never stop to consider how something as simple as a piece of fruit could represent both nourishment and danger at the same time. And that's the problem, because we live our lives on autopilot. We assume that the foods placed in front of us, the habits we repeat daily, the patterns we never question, are all harmless. But that assumption is not only naive, it's potentially fatal. Take the avocado. It's been elevated to almost mythical status. People talk about it as if it's the ultimate superfood, a symbol of health, vitality, and clean living. Seniors, in particular, have embraced it because it seems to offer good fats, vitamins, and heart benefits. But here's where awareness matters. What almost no one tells you is that if you consume it improperly, overripe, oxidized, bruised, or stored carelessly, the very same food that could support your health becomes a vehicle for toxins, inflammation, and breakdown inside your body. Think about that for a moment. Something as small as a piece of fruit can either become a source of strength or a source of decay, depending on how you handle it. That's a profound truth, and not just about food. It reflects something deeper about life itself. The things we assume are good for us, the routines we stop questioning, can be silently undermining us. And the older you get, the higher the stakes. Because by the time you're in your 60s or 70s, your body doesn't bounce back the way it once did. Every decision compounds. Every choice either accelerates decline or pushes back against it. So let's get specific. An avocado that's bruised or overripe carries oxidized fats. These fats, once broken down, no longer nourish your cells. They trigger inflammation. They communicate to your blood vessels that stress is present, that damage control is needed. And your arteries respond by stiffening, narrowing, protecting themselves against what they perceive as an assault. But that stiffening comes at a cost. It reduces blood flow. It weakens the delivery of oxygen. It makes your legs feel heavier, your balance less certain, your hands more prone to tingling and numbness. It's not just about digestion, it's about the entire network of life supporting systems that depend on what you feed them. Now, here's the psychological dimension. Most people don't even notice this happening. They don't connect the dots between what they ate for breakfast and the way they feel walking up the stairs in the afternoon. They don't ask whether the fatigue in their legs, the slight dizziness, or the weakness creeping in has anything to do with daily, unconscious choices. And because they don't ask, they don't change. That's the real danger, not the avocado itself, but the unconsciousness surrounding it. Awareness is the dividing line. If you pay attention, you begin to notice patterns. You begin to realize that your body is giving you signals constantly. A little swelling, a bit of tingling, a sudden drop in energy. These are not random. They are feedback. They are your body trying to tell you, something you're doing is either feeding me life or feeding me decay. If you ignore that voice, you drift toward decline. If you listen, you reclaim power. And this isn't just about food. It's a metaphor for the way we live our lives. Think of how many habits you carry out automatically. How many things you repeat because you assume they're safe or because you've always done them. How many of those patterns are actually eroding your strength? How many are contributing to a slow, quiet collapse you won't recognize until it's too late? The point is not to demonize avocados or any single food. The point is to recognize that nothing is neutral. Everything you consume, every choice you make is pushing you in a direction. The question is whether you're paying enough attention to see which direction that is. And here's where it becomes empowering. Once you understand that even something as ordinary as an avocado can be fatal if ignored, you also realize the opposite. Even something as ordinary as an avocado handled consciously and consumed in its right form can be medicine. It can feed your brain, protect your heart, and open your vessels instead of closing them. That shift in perspective is everything. It's not about fear, it's about agency. You are not helpless. You're not doomed to decline. You are responsible, and you are capable of change. So here's the challenge. The next time you pick up that familiar fruit, don't do it mindlessly. Don't assume it's always helping you. Ask yourself, Is this life giving right now? Or is this feeding decay? And then apply that same question to the rest of your habits, to the way you move, to the way you think, to the choices you repeat without reflection. Because the truth is, life is constantly asking you that same question. Every day, in every small action, you are voting for vitality or decline. The difference between fatal and life-giving isn't the avocado. It isn't age. It isn't luck. The difference is awareness. And from this moment forward, awareness is in your hands. What most people never realize is that the body operates like a living city. Each organ, each vessel, each cell is part of an interconnected network that rises or falls depending on how well it's cared for. And just like a city, there are pathways, highways, and neighborhoods that must remain clear and functional. Your blood vessels are those highways. They deliver life. They carry oxygen. They nourish your legs so you can walk with confidence, your brain so you can think clearly, and your heart so it can beat without strain. But here is where the danger lies when you consume something in the wrong way, especially a food like avocado that seems harmless on the surface. You risk clogging, narrowing, and damaging these highways of life without even noticing it. Think about an avocado that's been improperly stored or exposed to air for too long. It browns, it softens, it begins to oxidize. On the surface, that doesn't seem like a big deal. After all, people eat overripe fruit all the time. But biologically, what's happening is no small matter. Those oxidized fats create free radicals, molecules that actively damage the lining of your blood vessels. They act like sparks landing on dry grass, igniting a slow burn of inflammation inside your arteries. And the truth is, once that fire begins, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads, it weakens, and it accelerates the aging of your circulatory system. Now, let's connect this to what seniors often feel but rarely understand. The heaviness in the legs, the occasional tingling in the feet, the weakness in the knees. These aren't random signs of just getting old. They are messages. They are signals from your blood vessels telling you that circulation is compromised, that oxygen is not flowing freely, that something in your daily choices is eroding the very highways that sustain your vitality. And yet, because no one has ever explained this connection, people dismiss it, they shrug it off, they assume it's inevitable decline, when in reality, it is not. There is something profoundly philosophical about this. Life does not collapse suddenly, it erodes gradually. And it's the things we overlook, the foods we don't question, the habits we don't adjust, the small choices we dismiss, that often make the largest difference over time. The oxidized avocado is not a catastrophic bomb inside your body. It's something far more subtle and far more dangerous. It's a drip, drip, drip of damage that compounds daily until the consequences feel irreversible. But here's the empowering truth. Biology is not destiny. Your body has built-in systems of repair, renewal, and regeneration. The lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, is capable of healing if you give it the right inputs. When you consume foods in their optimal state, when you avoid the silent toxins of oxidation and spoilage, you are literally giving your body the tools it needs to rebuild its highways. You're restoring the flow of life itself. And this restoration is not abstract. It's tangible. Seniors who begin to make these changes report walking farther without pain, standing longer without weakness, feeling warmth in their hands and feet instead of numbness. These are not small victories. They are the difference between independence and dependency, between confidence and fear, between living fully and merely existing. Let me take this deeper. There's a psychological cost to ignoring these truths. When you accept decline as inevitable, you surrender your agency. You convince yourself that nothing you do matters, and that belief is more damaging than any oxidized fat could ever be. Because once you stop believing in your ability to change, you stop trying, you stop listening. You stop paying attention to the signals your body gives you every single day. That resignation is fatal. On the other hand, when you wake up to the fact that something as ordinary as how you store or prepare an avocado can influence your circulation, your energy, and your strength, you begin to realize how much power you actually hold. That realization doesn't just transform your health. It transforms your entire approach to life. You stop sleepwalking. You start noticing. You begin to see that everything matters, not in a fearful way, but in a liberating way. Because if everything matters, then every small choice is an opportunity to reclaim vitality. So the next time you slice open that fruit, pause. Look at it. Ask yourself, is this fueling my body or is this feeding decay? That simple act of awareness is the beginning of transformation. And when you extend that awareness to other foods, other habits, other routines, you step into a life where decline is no longer the default. The mistake is not in eating the avocado. The mistake is in eating it without awareness. That is the fatal trap. And once you understand this, you will never again look at food or your own health the same way. Remember this, the smallest changes compound into the greatest transformations. And the decision to act with awareness today will define whether you age with strength and vitality or with weakness and regret. When we reach this stage of the conversation, it's important to realize that the problem isn't just about the food itself, but about the timing and context in which we consume it. This is where most people unknowingly sabotage their health. You see, the body doesn't process nutrients in a vacuum. It responds to rhythms, to states of stress and relaxation, to the demands placed on it at specific moments. Eating the wrong food at the wrong time can convert something that had been healing into something that becomes harmful. And with avocados, this principle is more important than people realize. Consider what happens when someone eats an avocado late at night. On the surface, it seems harmless. After all, it's just a fruit. It's natural. It's filled with good fats. But here's the reality. Your body's metabolism slows significantly during the evening hours. Your blood vessels relax, your digestion slows, and your body begins the work of repair. Introducing a heavy, fat-rich food like avocado in this state forces your system into overdrive. The fats linger in circulation, the blood thickens slightly, and instead of repair, you're creating subtle strain. For seniors already struggling with circulation, this can tip the balance toward poor blood flow, swelling in the legs, or even nighttime chest discomfort that's often brushed off as indigestion. But let's take it a step further. Many people combine avocado with other dense, calorie-rich foods, fried bread, processed meats, or sugar-laden condiments. The avocado itself isn't the villain here, it's the way it's paired. When healthy fats are drowned in oils, salts, or refined carbohydrates, they lose their protective edge. Instead of stabilizing blood sugar, they spike it. Instead of protecting blood vessels, they damage them. The combination becomes a cocktail for inflammation. It's like taking a medicine and mixing it with poison. You cancel out the benefit and amplify the harm. This is where awareness becomes everything. Eating consciously means not only choosing the right food, but also asking, when is the right time? What is the right portion? And what am I combining this with? That small shift in perspective transforms the avocado from a silent threat into a tool for healing. But without that awareness, even the best food can become your enemy. There is a deeper truth hiding here. The body, much like the mind, is shaped by patterns. Patterns of eating, patterns of sleeping, patterns of thinking. When you constantly push your body against its natural rhythm, when you impose chaos on a system designed for harmony, the cost accumulates. Seniors often experience this cost as fatigue that doesn't go away, swelling that never fully subsides, or a creeping sense of weakness that feels inevitable. But it's not inevitable. It's the reflection of misaligned patterns. And this is not just biology, it's philosophy, because the way you treat your body mirrors the way you treat your life. If you feed yourself without attention, if you dismiss timing and context, if you shrug off the details because they feel small, then you create disorder not only in your health, but in your entire existence. Small missteps repeated daily create large consequences. Conversely, small conscious choices repeated daily create resilience, strength, and vitality. Now let's bring this back to the avocado. The difference between eating it in a way that heals and eating it in a way that harms often comes down to when and how. Fresh, properly stored, Eaten in moderation, paired with vegetables and lean proteins, consumed during the day when your metabolism is active. In this form, the avocado strengthens you. But neglected, combined with processed food, eaten late, or consumed in excessive amounts, it undermines you. And here's the uncomfortable truth: most seniors don't think about this distinction at all. They assume that because a food is labeled healthy, it can never harm them. And that assumption is costing them their vitality. The irony is that awareness doesn't demand a massive overhaul of your life. It requires attention. It requires respect for your own body's rhythms. It requires the humility to recognize that nature designed your biology to work in a certain way, and your role is not to override it, but to align with it. So when you think about your next meal, I urge you to pause. Don't just ask what you're eating. Ask when you're eating, how you're eating, and what patterns you are reinforcing. Because every bite is a message to your body. It tells your cells whether to heal or to decay, whether to open your blood vessels or to narrow them, whether to give you strength or to weaken you. That choice is yours every single day, in every single moment. And if you want proof that this matters, just look around. The seniors who remain strong, who walk with energy, who keep their clarity of mind, are not always those with the best genetics. They are often the ones who paid attention to the details, who respected timing, who aligned their choices with biology instead of fighting against it. They made small, consistent decisions that compounded into resilience. So remember this: it's not just what you eat, but how you live in relation to what you eat. That is the real difference between food as medicine and food as poison. The final decision rests with you. Each avocado, each meal, each moment is either an act of healing or an act of harm. And when you choose wisely, you're not just extending your years. You're reclaiming the strength and freedom that make those years worth living.